Today, I want to talk about what I think is one of the coolest things in SF6. Strangely, it's an aspect of this game that I don't even know if it was originally intended by the developers, but it has led to some of the coolest combos in the game. And it also solves a very common complaint about execution barriers in modern fighting games. So, before we get started, could you guys hit that sub button, please? Thanks. Okay, so before I talk about it directly, let me explain some things about how the drive gauge works in this game. So, you probably already know this, but after using your drive gauge, it will naturally regenerate over time. So like, as you can see right now, my drive gauge is slowly regenerating. One thing you may or may not know is that the speed that the drive gauge regenerates at can vary drastically based on what you're actually doing. And if you walk forwards, your drive gauge actually recovers much more quickly. And I think this is an intentional design choice to disincentivize players from spending a lot of drive and then running away to get their drive gauge back. So like, I think Capcom did not want people doing like a pressure string and then playing like super defensive keep away and like running away until their drive gauge comes back. Like, they don't want you stalling for time. I think that's the general idea. You also recover less drive gauge when you're jumping, and again, I think that's the same idea. I think Capcom doesn't want you just like up backing to like stall time to recover drive gauge. This is sort of like negative penalty in Guilty Gear. I think it's kind of this game's version of negative penalty. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, we also need to look at one more aspect of the drive system, and that's drive recovery lockout. So basically what this means is that after performing certain actions in this game, your drive gauge can get frozen and prevented from recovering until you return to like a neutral state. And the most common example is doing this. A drive rush cancel. So if you use a drive rush cancel to extend a combo, you will notice that the drive gauge does not regenerate at all until the combo is over and a couple of seconds have passed. So I'll kind of do an exaggerated example of that here. I'm going to do a drive rush cancel combo and keep an eye on how long it takes before my drive gauge starts recovering here. Like, all throughout that long-ass combo, the drive gauge is just stuck at 3 bars. And that's like an intentional design decision as well, I think, to stop you from just like intentionally doing the most slow combo possible to recover drive gauge. So anyway, by now, I'm sure more than a few of you have probably figured out where I'm going with this. I'm going to be talking today about micro walk combos and why I think they are really cool. So, it turns out that the lockout on drive gauge recovery can actually be bypassed a little bit by walking forward during a combo. This is the part that I'm not even sure if this was intended by Capcom or not. I imagine they probably didn't intend initially for the drive gauge recovery to be overwritten by walking forward, and maybe they just decided to let it rock. I don't know, I'm just speculating here. But if you have enough spare time in the middle of a combo to walk forward just a little bit, you can actually recover a tiny little sliver of drive, even if you've already used the drive rush cancel. And it looks like this. So do you see after that stand medium punch there, I'm not at 3 bars of drive. I'm actually like a pixel over 3 bars of drive. I'll do it again. I'm fractionally over 3 bars. And that tiny little sliver of drive, that little pixel unlocks a whole world of stylish combos in this game. That's because drive rush cancels cost 3 bars of drive. And as you all know, this game has a 6 bar maximum of drive gauge. So normally we can only drive rush twice in one combo like this. You'll see after the second drive rush, we're burned out. However, if we find a combo route where we have enough frame advantage to walk forward just a tiny little bit in between hits without dropping the combo, you'll notice that even after doing 2 drive rush cancels, we aren't in burnout and we have a tiny little bit of drive left. So, like this, for example. So that's the exact same combo, but that time I did a micro walk after the first drive rush cancel, and we weren't in burnout, we had a tiny little bit of drive left. And you can use that tiny little bit of drive to go for a third drive rush cancel if you want, or you can even use an EX move. So here's what 3 drive rush cancels looks like. As a basic example. And here's the thing. There are 2 reasons why I love micro walk combos. Number 1, style points. I mean, this is just subjective, but I just think they look really cool. So in a game with a lot of homogenized combos, I think they add a lot of sauce, which is like otherwise lacking. So here's an example of like a pretty cool Aki combo that takes advantage of micro walks. Something like that. Lots of characters can use them. I think pretty much every character in the game can take advantage of micro walks to extend their combos. And in most cases, they either add a little bit extra damage or a little bit more super meter gain. Like usually they're optimal, but only very slightly. So I just think they look cool on a style level. And the second reason why I think micro walk combos are cool, and probably the biggest reason I think they're cool, is that they introduce something that people have been asking for probably the last 8 or 9 years. Customizable combo difficulty. This is the big one. This is what I think people don't really appreciate about them. So, to take a step back real quick, I think one of the biggest criticisms people have of the combo games in both Street Fighter 6 and Street Fighter 5 is that combos are just too easy to perform. Because these games both have a link buffer, which means that like mid-level players and top-level players and even low-level players usually can hit pretty much all of the same optimal bread-and-butter combos, right? Gone are the days of one-frame links, and now combos are mostly designed to be much less mechanically complex. Yeah, let me show you guys a clip from a recent episode of Brian F's Trash Talk with IDOM, just to emphasize this.
Maybe we could have a extra combo counter for if you do a true just frame on every link. Like if you avoided the buffer on your link combos, maybe there could be an extra multiplier.
Okay, so just to explain what's happening here, Brian and IDOM are kind of trying to spitball ideas they've had to reward execution while still keeping the game accessible for beginners. And I think Brian is suggesting what you can do is add a small bonus if you hit the one frame link timing properly rather than using the buffer window. So he's suggesting kind of have like an extra little bit of damage if you hit the one frame link without using the buffer is like his suggestion. And I think this kind of idea of adding ways to like intentionally choose to make the combo harder, like just frames, it's a popular idea in the Street Fighter community. But what if I was to tell you that micro walks literally solve this exact problem? That's the beauty of it. Like, effectively, what you're suggesting already exists in micro walks. So you can do a simple double drive rush combo, like a beginner combo like this. Or you can choose to significantly increase your chance of dropping the combo by going for a tight micro walk extension, but the payoff is only either a little bit of bonus damage or extra meter build. So in this way, we are literally letting players choose if they want to make their combo easier or harder. So I can choose to go for an easy combo, or I can choose to go for a harder combo. I dropped it right there, kind of proving the point. Something like that. Also, I guess I should add that it's not just a binary choice of like, should I micro walk, yes or no? So Aki is actually a really good example of this. Let me show you 2 Aki micro walks, because it's not as simple as just, do you want to micro walk? It's not just a yes no question. So what Aki can do is she can do a micro walk after drive rush medium kick into stand medium punch like this. That's a micro walk. And this micro walk is actually very, very easy to do. The window is very large for this one. And I go for this in matches very regularly because this one is actually quite consistent. Something like that. Very doable. If you're ready for it and you identify that you've got 6 bars of drive, I will almost always go for that in a match. But she also has this micro walk. That one. This is drive rush stand heavy kick into stand medium punch. And unlike the previous one, this micro walk is literally frame perfect. You have to manually walk forward with a 1 frame room for error. But this is optimal. This is optimal damage for Aki in a lot of different situations. Going for the frame perfect micro walk. Something like that. This literally gives you total freedom here to choose how hard you want to make your combo. So a beginner can just go for the combo with no micro walks. An intermediate player can start to integrate the easier micro walk with the big window to land it. And then maybe an expert player or someone just trying to style can go for the optimal but frame perfect micro walk. And each of those, for Aki at least, does slightly more damage and slightly more meter build than the last. So you literally get to customize exactly how difficult you want to make the combo mechanically in real time. You get to choose if you want to make the combo easy or hard. And I think that's a really elegant solution to all of these discussions about execution versus accessibility. So that's why I think micro walks are really goddamn cool. And it's also why I really, really hope that Capcom doesn't go, oh, that thing where you get drive for walking forward during combos, that was a bug. We've removed that in a future balance patch. Like, please, Capcom, don't ever do that, because they're really cool. I hope some stuff like this becomes more integrated intentionally into the game, because as far as I know, no like combo trials or anything like that actually instructs you to use micro walks. It's not written anywhere in the game. It's not part of Capcom's like explicit design philosophy. And I would say that my only real criticism is that they are limited to situations where you have 6 bars of drive. That's kind of my only criticism of micro walks, is that they're very niche and mostly just reserved for like max damage punishes when you have full resources. I would like to see stuff like this being more prevalent in the game. Situations where you can choose in real time how difficult you want to make the combo. But yeah, I think micro walks are really cool. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. And I will see you guys all in the next video.